Local programming on KRWG Public Media made possible in part by viewers like you. Thank you.
Hello and welcome to Fronteras at Changing America. I'm Anthony Moreno. A major Latino civil rights organization in the United States has a new state director for New Mexico. Joining us is Dr. Juan García. He was recently named state director of the New Mexico League of United Latin American Citizens, often called LULAC. Congratulations, Dr. Garcia, and thank you so much for joining us.
Muchas gracias for the invitation, and I'm so happy to be here and share with us the LULAC experience.
Well, if you could share a little bit more of that LULAC experience with us, we'd love to hear a little bit about the organization. It is quite a historic organization.
Yes, LULAC was first created in 1929 in Corpus Christi, Texas. LULAC stands for League of United Latin American Citizens. And during that time, during that period, Jim Crow was ubiquitous in all aspects of Latino areas, jobs, housing, education, voting. So initially LULAC started off and still is a civil rights organization. We have taken many cases to court. We took one case called Texas versus Hernandez all the way to the Supreme Court, and we won. And because of that victory, juries are now diversified in any legal case. So we're really, we are not afraid to legally fight for the rights of individuals. Now, we have 33 councils, 33 councils throughout the country. Now, in each state, you may have more than one. So really, you're looking at many LULAC councils, and a council is 10 individuals. That they can form the group. In New Mexico, we have 12 councils. Wow. One of my goals is to recruit more councils. Out of those 12, we have 2 what we call collegiate councils.
Okay.
And these are LULAC councils at the university or college level. I'll share the mission of LULAC, and these collegiate councils are part of LULAC's concern that we graduate more Latinos, Latinas from college. Mm-hmm. Now, the mission of LULAC is to advocate for the improvement of housing, employment, health, political empowerment, and, as I mentioned, education for Latinos. So LULAC, starting off as a civil rights organization, we soon found out that many other issues impact our community. So this is our effort to reach out and help the community and what we're going to do.
Okay, now I know that you work in higher education, so it seems like this is something that really kind of goes hand in hand with your new position as state director. Mm-hmm. A lot of the work you're doing in higher education at NMSU Alamogordo. Mm-hmm. If you could share a little bit about that, and also about a little bit about your history. We'd like to know a little bit about you as well.
Sure. I have been employed in higher education for about 16 to 17 years at different institutions of higher learning. Like many Latinos and Latinas, I was the first member of the family to go to college. I achieved my baccalaureate degree in interdisciplinary studies at University of Texas at San Antonio, where I'm from. I got my master's in science in academic counseling from Texas A&M, and my PhD from the University of Texas in Austin. So as I progressed and finally went to the PhD level, I noticed my mother's concerned, and I said, "What's the matter, Mother?" And she said, "Well, your aunts and uncles want to know if they have to give you another gift." So yeah, that's the experience of Latinos. They really don't know the education system. So no, yes, I was very fortunate to get my BA, my MS, and my PhD. First in the family to do that.
Okay, and I want to hear a little bit about your platform. You have been quoted, I know, in the press about education, of course, being a major platform of yours here in New Mexico. Now, I don't think it's any surprise to our audience that there are some major challenges in education in New Mexico. So what type of platform do you want to take forward with education in New Mexico? What do you want to implement here with LULAC New Mexico in our state?
I mentioned that Latino parents, they don't have what, there is a Latino think tank from the Tomas Rivera Center, and he was an excellent writer, author. And that think tank did a survey of parents, asking them questions about higher education. So many of the questions the parents could not answer. So the Tomas Rivera Center did a publication that said that Latino parents do not have what they call college knowledge. So even something as simple as GPA, they didn't know what it was. So one of my initiatives is to focus on Latino parents statewide and present Parent College 101 presentations so that they know the admissions, financial aid, and registration process, so they can be part of the team for their child that will help guide them through the higher education process. It's a daunting process even now.
Yeah.
You know, it was daunting for me when I did my PhD. I had to apply for financial aid, and I said, "Oh my God, you know, I got to do this again."
Yeah.
But no, so parent college knowledge, educating parents is one platform that I want to do.
Now, as someone who is a first-generation college student, I have a fairly good understanding of this. I recall getting ready to go to college and being frustrated with paperwork, with applications, knowing which way to go, and financial aid as well, and seeing my friends whose parents went to college, you know, pretty much have their parents fill everything out for
Breeze
them,
through it,
and just they had no stress at all with that. The intimidation factor.
Yeah.
How big is it, and is it still that big today?
Remember, LULAC has been fighting for the civil rights and the integration of Latinos for 90 years. When you think about it, that's a short time for Latinos to have access to higher education. So we're focusing on Latino parents, and any parents will be able to come to our presentations so that we can educate them on what is needed or what is part of their son or daughter's college process. Even the students don't know the deadlines for dropping a class. You know, they go and they drop it and they found out that it's after the deadline. So they can't re-register for another class. So there's a lot of pitfalls that both the parent and the students need to know about higher education. And the second project that we're going to undertake is have several financial aid and admissions day nights where we can invite the parents early in the fall. When students are graduating in May, we can do this in the fall, because now under financial aid you can apply in the fall and your package will be waiting for you there in August. So it wasn't like that before.
Yeah.
So now we can do it early. So we'll do the admissions and financial aid nights, and we'll do the Parent College 101, both projects throughout the state. And we hope that, and we know that we will have a good return on what we're doing for really all students in New Mexico.
Is there still a stigma of fear with higher education among Hispanics that may have existed back in the day? I know that I remember being in college and talking with education advocates for Latinos to go to college, and they shared with me that they struggled with talking with families because some families didn't want their children to go away to college, but yet they would call them years later and say, hey, my kid's still in the home, I need to, what can you do? So, I mean, is this still an issue?
Yeah, yeah. Well, certainly asking their children to go to work and help with the family budget is a big issue within Latino parents. And once again, college knowledge by the parents and the students. You fear what you don't know. So I remember my first health class. It was a room with 120 students in it. And it darkened when the professor started to speak, and he put his mic on. And forget about asking questions, you had to go to his office hours. So that was intimidating. I got up to leave. But yes, not having the knowledge of what exists in higher education, the culture of higher education, yes, it has hindered a lot of Latino students from going to college.
So the data's out there. Hispanic Latinos have made strides in graduating high school, especially in recent years. However, not as many are finishing college, finishing their degree, retention issues. How is this right now, and how do you think your organization can make a difference so that Hispanic students that are going to college finish their degree programs?
When LULAC morphed from a civil rights organization to several issues for Latinos, of course we discovered those same statistics, that Latinos are not being retained or graduated at the same level as other students. Well, LULAC decided to create what we call LULAC Young Adult Councils at the universities and colleges. And this council will have the support, resource support and career support from the LULAC National Office. So we are very aware that these collegiate councils, LULAC councils, really incubate future graduates for college. And it's important because colleges and universities to understand that one shoe does not fit all as far as advising and retention programs are concerned. When you advise the Latino or Latina student, you need to be aware that you're also advising the parents. So that's the approach that we need to take. I believe, and we will do this, we'll bring the parents in and advise the student with the parents right next to them, so that the parents know what the student is registering for and what at what level the students are at. There's some Latino parents right now that don't know how many college hours their students have or will take. So it's important that colleges and universities adopt an advising and retention programs that really address the cultural norms of Latinos and Latinas.
Now, you mentioned just two different things right there, not only bringing the families in and having a conversation and everybody on board to make sure that the student completes the task and completes the degree program, but there's also some responsibility on universities. Universities also have issues like funding that they have to deal with, and New Mexico universities here in New Mexico they're no strangers to that.
No.
So we've seen cuts at universities, including NMSU, and some of those cuts hit retention programs.
Yes.
So I'm curious if, when these cuts happen, are they ever replenished? Is there a focus again to make sure that when they do happen, when times are good, do they remember these retention programs?
Well, everything is based on enrollment. So yes, some of them are the positions are brought again. If you get higher enrollment, you bring your staff back in. Another big plus that universities can do that will help with maybe not too much funding is that they can diversify their faculty and staff. I remember through all my college career, my bachelor's, master's, and doctorate degree, I hardly saw anybody that looked like me at these institutions. So a student needs to feel or see a person that looks like them at the university to be able to feel that it's a welcoming event. Or students are afraid to approach another faculty member like they would approach a diverse person and talk about issues that's near to them. So yes, funding has hit a lot of universities nationwide. So there are some things that universities can do that do not require funding. So as they hire or retain faculty and staff, they need to look at their diverse strategic plan and hire diverse faculty and staff to make students feel welcome.
I mean, you've worked in higher education for some time.
Yes.
You've been in those rooms with the decision makers at universities. I'd like to hear your thoughts a little bit on how you think the understanding of a diverse population is among higher education today. I mean, I'm sure there's been strides, but can you give me sort of where we're at now picture?
Well, we're still growing as far as hiring a diverse faculty and staff. You always hear the same comment, well, we can't find any qualified minorities. That is really an antiquated thought because, and I'm just using me as an example, I mean, I have my PhD. And when I was doing my PhD program, there were other students, minority students that were doing their PhDs. And then there's minority organizations that have members that are highly educated. NAACP has a lot of well-educated membership. LULAC has a lot of well-educated membership. But you hardly, the national conventions, you hardly ever see HR people recruiting there. So from universities, the old notion that you can't find qualified minorities, that is really culturally counterproductive, because you can have people, you can find these students. All you need to do is go to your PhD program at this institution, and you're cultivating your future workers. Go to another institution, go to UTEP and find out who are the doctorate students there and recruit from them. In other words, create your own pipeline.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now I want to move on and talk about another issue that LULAC is involved with, and that is advocating for immigration and immigrant rights. And I'd like to hear your thoughts really on where your organization is on immigration and how you feel the policy is right now in the United States, how it's doing and how it's affecting Latinos.
Well, we are a country of immigrants. So LULAC is a advocate of correcting, refining our immigration process so that it's more welcoming. Many countries that are not welcoming minorities, their populations are growing old. You need to replenish your population in order for your country to stay vibrant and to have people for jobs. Germany, Japan, they are losing and they're coming up with an elderly population that they need to welcome more immigrants. And yes, our current immigration policy, LULAC wants something that we can work in a good manner, because we need immigration. We've got 12 million immigrants working here right now. Now they're doing a job every day. They're providing the taxes because they withdraw their Social Security. So they're contributing to the country. This country has always depended, during the Industrial Revolution, we needed immigrants from Europe to be able to do this. And yes, we think that we need to have a more humane immigration policy so that we can help this country and our immigrants succeed.
Yeah. Now I want to, in order to create a policy, you have to have some sort of dialogue. Now, as we tape this program, there has been a really big national dialogue about the rhetoric the President of the United States has been using and the fallout from that rhetoric, from recently he recently told members of Congress who happen to be of diverse backgrounds to, quote, go back to where they came from, even though they're Americans, and all but one were born in the United States. Now, I'd like to hear your thoughts on the president using racist language in a tweet and how you feel that is impacting our national dialogue on immigration.
Well, personally, I think that it's unfortunate that the president uses the power of his microphone to conduct this kind of, to broadcast this kind of conversation. And, you know, I have heard this forever, and other people have heard this forever. Well, if you don't like it here, go back to Mexico. That's an old cliche that we've heard forever. And the comment is the same. You know, we were here before anybody was here. So, you know, we're here at home. But no, I don't think that dialogue helps. And yes, we need for both sides of the aisle to work together. But I wish that the dialogue would be more positive and ratchet down some of the information that is going right now. And no, when a president speaks, people listen. So it's unfortunate. I hope the president would understand that. I'm sure he will come to some kind of understanding. We have the immigration issue is an issue that I don't think there's been a significant improvement in that in many, many years. We've had executive orders. You know, the DACA students is an executive order. But we need a policy and laws that are updated to the current status of immigrants. You know, we have immigrants that we bring in for technical careers. We bring them in, and we bring in engineers from another country. You know, we should be able to have our homegrown people to be able to do that. And you know, Mexico is one of our biggest importers and exporters.
Yeah.
So we've had a long history of economic development that we work together. Here in Las Cruces, there's a economic partnership with Las Cruces, El Paso, and Juarez. I think that's called a Metroplex.
Borderplex.
Borderplex.
Yeah, I know. We've done several interviews on that topic, and but you brought up something that I think is really important to discuss, and especially as we have this national dialogue on rhetoric and immigration and those seeking asylum. You brought up DACA students, dreamers, many who are in higher education right now trying to get a degree and put their faith in the United States government in order to get into this program. Now, many folks know to get into this program, you have to have a clean background and have been here in the United States for a certain number of years. Now, many of these people in this program, in DACA, are facing the expiration of this program. And there hasn't been a solution for what's going to happen with DACA, what's going to happen with Dreamers. So I'd like to hear a little bit about your perspective on what your organization feels needs to be done to really address this issue, because it seems to be getting lost right now in the national dialogue with all this rhetoric going back and forth between two different perspectives.
Well, LULAC feels that we cannot have an immigration process that does not include a pathway to citizenship for DACA students. That's the deferred action of childhood arrivals. We have always taken that platform, that any immigration law should include a citizenship process for the DACA students. And the DACA program was at one time terminated, but because of the uproar and legal issues, it was reopened for students to reapply. You can reapply, but you cannot apply as a new DACA student now. You can reapply your status, but not any new applications are not being taken. And once again, that's an executive order. So, you know, it can be terminated at any time. But no, LULAC wants that anything, any law that is implemented to legalize the immigrants here, the DACA students must be part of that agreement. And not only LULAC, but several senators and congressmen feel the same way.
Now, I want to touch on something that you've brought up a couple times during this interview. We just have a couple of minutes left, and that was establishing LULAC councils at universities. Now, there's a number of universities here in New Mexico, and you said that there are only 2 LULAC councils at universities, and where are those?
We have one at NMSU Alamogordo, my campus. They're a very active group. We've had them for about 5 years. And a sidebar that we really enjoy is that all the male students in that LULAC student organization have gone on to get their associate's or baccalaureate degree. So it's a good retention program to have this one. We also have a LULAC Young Adult Council at UNM, and they are an outstanding, talented group of students that do fantastic work. But that's also part of my recruitment plan. We want to go to universities and colleges and create more young adult LULAC councils. And I guess the NMSU system is an HSI system. So retaining these LULAC students retains our HSI status with the Department of Education as well. So it's really a win-win that we have these groups, and we'd like to have more. We'd love to have, NMSU Las Cruces used to have one, but they graduated and they went on, and I would love to recruit another one.
Okay.
All they need is a full-time faculty member or staff member to be their sponsor.
And that's how it can happen. Unfortunately, we are out of time. Dr. Juan Garcia,
Okay.
I want to thank you for joining us, and congratulations on your new role as State Director of LULAC in New Mexico.
Muchas gracias.
And we want to thank you for joining us for Fronteras, Changing America. I'm Anthony Moreno.